Hi, I'm Beth Smith, homeschool mom of 4, piano teacher, music educator, and the creator of the Feast of Ideas curriculum, where we use books, music, and food to explore a wide variety of topics, starting with a composer and connecting science, art, literature, and history to the composer's lifetime. So we've been reviewing The Redeemed Reader. And if you like to read to your children, I highly recommend this book. It gives lots of great solutions, and we've been going through the different chapters talking about what different concerns or ideas to have to make an engaged reader and to help cultivate your child's discernment and imagination through story. If you haven't already, could you like and subscribe? That would be great. We're on chapter 5, a fresh look at old books, the risks and rewards of reading the classics. And this book talks about that a lot of times there's so many books. We go to the library and there's always new books being published, and I've talked with many librarians on how they order new books and what goes into all of that. And it can be really overwhelming to try to preview and read through every book your child gets, especially as your kids are getting older. And so sometimes parents, and I know I've definitely been tempted to do this, I'm just going to read classics, old tried and true books, and never try anything new because it's safer. I read it as a child, or it's been around, it's stood the test of time. Classics have a place and they are wonderful, but let's talk about what some of the pitfalls that could lead to, as well as some of the benefits of reading the classics. So I'm going to read through some of the different sections of this, but again, I highly recommend you get this book. So it talks about the rewards, delight and virtue. Reading old books can spur delight and virtue. But the risks, philosophy and perspective. So here are some of the risks they talk about. Unbiblical ideas in philosophy. Even old tried and true books, something like The Secret Garden, comes from a time where the family isn't prioritized, and the child's development is done apart and away from the influence of a mother or father. She develops into this good thing just because the new environment she's placed in without any parental influence. So being aware that just because it's an older book, it's not always safer. It doesn't always have a Christian worldview or philosophy. The second one is limited ethnic and cultural representations. So talking about God's marvelous creative providence, his church is composed of people from all eras, cultures, of all ages, colors, shapes, and sizes. And that's definitely something I've learned through creating my Feast of Ideas curriculum. We start in the Middle Ages and we go all over the world trying to get musicians and authors and scientists and historical people and events from all over the world. And so at the end of this chapter, they do talk about some books you could pair with books that you might have read regularly. How else could you expand that? Is there a similar book to that, but maybe it covers a different culture? Risk number 3, and this one I definitely struggle with, misplaced nostalgia. Reading Laura Ingalls or Caddie Woodlawn makes us long for a simpler time, but there was sin back then too. And those books can sometimes create a rose-colored lens through which we view the past, and we think it was only good, it was only simple. And in fact, with Laura Ingalls, I've read a biography on her, and there is stuff that she left out of her Little House on the Prairie series, things like Pa skipping town to get out of debt. And when you realize the context that it was around the 1850s and he was out west, he did not fight in the Civil War. Was he abstaining from that? Like, he's not this perfect picture of ideal, of just perfect moralism. He's a real person. Risk number 4, assuming old conventions are better than new. There could be. They could be close, but not necessarily. We don't want to just make that assumption. And then, so they say, what do you do about that? Do you just throw out the old? Do you just do the new? No. Balance. Try to have both. Include old and new. And I know that's hard. Your time is valuable. So they give a list of recommendations to pair with things. So if you've already been reading something, here's a recommendation to help expand either with modernity or maybe a different culture. So one of the books that we read is a science fiction book to pair with Around the World with 80 Days, is a rover story, which I have right here. We listened to it on audiobook, and my kids loved it. It was fiction, but based on some true things about the rover program going to Mars, and pair that with Around the World in 80 Days. Pair The Boy Who Became Buffalo Bill if you're reading Little House on the Prairie. Pair The Faithful Spy, a graphic novel about Bonhoeffer, with The Hiding Place, and that would be for older kids, would be my recommendation. So they give a bunch of things to pair just to help you get started. So I really appreciated that from chapter 5 of The Redeemed Reader. All right, happy reading.